What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. And today is super exciting because we are finally getting this to the dyno to see what it'll make on the tune and the Rotofab. That is loud. Before we get to the video, guys, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you guys for supporting the channel. We are over 5,000 subscribers now and well on our way to that 10,000 subscriber goal. So if you haven't, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, consider subscribing, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all my videos. We've got a bunch of plans and a bunch of parts ready to go on the ZL1, and I hope you guys can enjoy the content and see the progress. That's right, we've got to get to the dyno, guys. I actually finally washed it nice and clean, but we're going to be going and checking out what the car is going to make with the tune and the Rotofab. It's actually a very nice day here for being the beginning of May. It's fairly nice. But for now, guys, enough talking. Let's get right to it and head over to the dyno. Give you guys the cold start. All right. Pretty tame, pretty calm. This is going to sound a lot better once we get the headers and remove the cats, but for now this is what we got, guys. So just pulled up to Excessive Racing Engines and check out the IATs just driving here, guys. The manifold air temperature 132, IAT 295. Pretty hot day, but the aeroforce gauge has something cool that's going to allow us to hopefully cool this thing down quicker so we can get the most power out of this thing on the dyno. Excessive Racing Engines, guys, here in Pearland, right off of the Beltway. If you guys are here in Houston, check them out. They're the ones that have worked on my SS and are now going to be working just close on the spiller, and are probably going to work on the ZL1 when the time comes. But for now, let's go ahead and just admire this carbon in the sun, guys. Got the carbon mirrors, carbon handles, and even I just added this carbon shark fin on the back. That paint is awesome. So this is what I was talking about with the aeroforce gauge. The car is off, but you can hear the fans are going on high, and the intercooler pump for the supercharger should also be flowing. So the way that works is, if you haven't seen my gauge install video with the aeroforce itself has a way for you to do that. The familiarity of a shop with a certain car is what makes them good at what they do. So Excessive works on a ton of Camaros 6 gens all the time, and them working on them all the time, they basically have everything down to the T of what they need to do for any given parts or installs. So that is why I like bringing my stuff out here to Excessive Racing Engines, because they are going to have it dialed in and know exactly what to do. They're not going to hack things up or mess with things. It's just going to be done exactly what needs to be done. So anyways, we'll let this thing cool down and catch you guys when it's on the dyno. It is time, guys, and man, I don't know if the GoPro picks up, but this flake on this car when the sun hits it is amazing. God, can't wait to get this thing paint corrected, ceramic coated, and all that, which, by the way, guys, I will be making a video of in the future, so go ahead and make sure notification bell is on so that you won't miss those videos. Got the color on the dyno, so yeah, we're ready to roll, guys. We're ready for the first pull. Still a little warm, but it should give us a somewhat relative normal street driving power. Run actually made less power than before, but the RPM is all over the place. Okay, we're gonna do one more backup pull really quickly before we let it cool down. Just we kind of adjusted, make sure we got the RPM reading correctly so we can get a better, smoother graph here. That sounded really good, but again, we got a little bit more torque, 568, but only 535, 536. So power-wise, pretty much the same, but definitely a bit more torque across the mid-range. We did a backup run. The RPM kind of dips off a little bit. The sensor is not reading perfectly, but you can kind of see the RPM curve across the board here. Now it's actually making about 10 horsepower less, but a little over 12 pound-feet of torque more. Once it gets into the top RPM range here, it is basically kind of coming back down. Now this car again still has the stock stock manifolds, and the temperatures are not really helping it. We're gonna put some ice, let it cool down, do one more run, but this doesn't really scare me, guys, or don't look at this and say, oh well, the tune sucks, it doesn't do anything. No, a lot of it has to do with the combination that you do on these cars. So we're introducing a lot more air with the Rotofab Big Gulp, but we still have all the same factory restrictions: smaller throttle body, stock blower, biggest restriction, headers and cats. So in this upper RPM range, the car is sucking in, wants to suck in more air and wants to run faster, wants to do more, but it's not letting it, as you can see, because the headers and the exhaust on these things is really restricting the flow of the car. We'll let the car cool down and do one more really cold pull so that we can see what the final just iced down numbers are. Car is iced down, blower is cool, so hopefully we get a little bit better numbers, but of course this is iced down numbers, guys, so they're not really true world numbers. So it made more power than before, but only by about 6 horsepower. So 542, and torque did not read correctly. The sensor did not read, but I'm sure torque probably would have been over 570. All right, guys, so car is getting off the dyno, but we're looking at the graphs here, and what I'm showing here on the graph is actually the hot run versus hot run of the car from stock to now. So the red line is the bone stock just coming off of the street run, and you see it put 530 and 521 torque. So that was the bone stock car, and the blue line is our tuned and Rotofab intake. And you can see right away, look at that huge power gains across the low end and mid range. And it's only when you get up to the very top end here that we see a little bit of basically limit on the top end, which could be due to flow and restrictions, but huge gains in the mid range and only peak gains of about 5 horsepower. Check this out. So we are looking at the now individual numbers, and horsepower wise, look at the difference there. 40 horsepower gains throughout the mid range from a hot run. Again, this is a more comparable run, first run off of the street versus first run off of the street, and it made 445 versus 406. That is 40 horsepower more. And looking at the torque, 564 versus 510, almost 50 pound-feet of torque more.
Yeah, guys, the car is definitely putting out a lot more power, and that's just on 93. Now, the top end range, hopefully we can get the headers on and get other stuff done to the car to help let it breathe better. But for now, this is kind of what we have to deal with, guys. It's still making power across the board on the top end. So I'm super happy with the results. And now we just gotta do the E85 and see how much more we can pick up. We are done here at Excessive Racing Engines, and my God, I gotta say, that is why you have to look at the context of everything, guys. First few pulls, when we were comparing it to that 546 horsepower number, I mean, that was a freak pull from this car when it was bone stock and iced down. Now, the true normal first run on this car was 530, so 535 that it ran is actually still a gain of 5 horsepower, but the biggest gain was in the mid-range, where you guys saw this thing picked up almost 40 horsepower more in the mid-range across the board. And it was all across the board up until it got to the top RPM range, where it didn't really pick up anymore. But mid-range was amazing. Torque picked up almost 50 pound-feet of torque in the mid-range. That is insane. So guys, man, I can't wait to take this thing to the track and really show you guys the differences. Based on that mid-range and low-range torque, I think this car's gonna do amazing at the track. Again, huge shout out to Excessive Racing Engines, guys. These guys are, as you see, specialists with 6th gen Camaros, C6, Corvettes, and even C7s, as you see here. So huge shout out to them. Definitely hit them up for any of the work. Anyways, guys, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of the gains? Were you shocked by the numbers? I personally think that the numbers were right on point and doing really well. There's definitely things that can be improved, like the headers and the exhaust. Once we get rid of the cats and let the car breathe much better, we will start seeing the benefits reaped from the bigger intakes, the ported throttle bodies, the ported blowers, and all of that. So we got to do this stage by stage by stage. And I hope you guys are subscribed. If not, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and consider ringing that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with all the videos as we go step by step on this ZL1 to get it to run as fast as it can. But anyways, with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.